The death is announced of Felix John, better known as Fay or Bois de Fay of Testania Highway Library, who passed away peacefully at St. Jude's Hospital on Monday, May 22nd, 2023, at the age of 80. Left to mourn are his wife, Josephine John, better known as Lucy of Library, 6 sons, Nixon John of St. Croix, Gilson John, better known as Elshoes of St. Croix, Walson John, better known as Warwoy in London, Emerson Kurt John and Cheyenne John of Labrie, Ricky John in Canada. 4 daughters, Christine St. Catherine, employed with the Ministry of Finance, Avelina G. Joyer of Ottawa, Canada, Kathy Chico of Boss Labrie, Faith Merle Charles in Germany. 19 grandchildren. Noelissa St. Catherine, owner of design of Nell, Crystal St. Catherine Gray, and Brian St. Catherine of New York. Ryan St. Catherine, an employee of the Civil Court. Johan Joyer of Ottawa, Canada. Shem Joyer of Castries. Shima Joyer of Boss Labrie. Jamie John, Giovanni John, Justin Walter and Leo Shanks, all of Labrie. Donnell John in St. Croix, Courtney John and Kaylee John of Labrie, Chantel Joseph of Labrie, Said Nelson of Germany, Nadel John of Larissus V4, Shania Kayla John of Saltibus, Christian John of Labrie. 5 great-grandchildren, Aidan Theebles in Castries, Ace Green of New York, Shakim Joyer and Johan Peter of Boss Labrie, Jove Joyer of Castries. 5 godchildren, Albert Motion Flavien of V4, Daniel Cassius and Kirby O'Geese of Labrie, Dalton Lafayette of Choiseul, Polius, Customs Officer in Castries. 3 brothers, Paul Dixon of Boss-la-Grasse, Labrie, Marcel John and James John of St. Croix. 5 sisters, Emilienne Alfred, better known as Fofoy of Labrie, Agatha John in St. Croix, Lucita Fossois, better known as Lou, Hansika Francis and Nazaria Celia John Chico of Labrie. 1 aunt, Bernardine Alphonse and family of Labrie. 2 uncles, James John in St. Martin, Clovence John in London. 27 nieces, Edmonaria Jean-Baptiste, also known as Momon of Labrie, Anselma Eugene of Boss, Sky Selma Francis of Black Bay Labrie, Melanie Felix, Dawn Martha and Elisa Martha of Labrie, Randa Frederick and Janice Henry of Auger, Celeste Japierre, teacher at the Miku Secondary School, Stacy John in Cuba, Rosella Arthur of Castries, Michelle Simone Fowler, Caroline Lacorbiniere, Sasha John Burrell and Carissa Chico of Canada, Vanessa John, Allison John, Priscilla John, Lucia Fossois and Marguerite Banks, all of the United Kingdom, Eva Dixon Souvenir and Gina Dixon Adams of Barbados, Marilyn Victoria Watson, Leona John Emmanuel, Irene Julia Fossois Tulsi, Cadia Prelue and Emmeline Arthur, all of the U.S. 21 nephews: Brian Arthur, Vincent Arthur, Urban Marthra, Chev Charlemagne, Shan Francois, and Larry Alexander, all in the U.S. Lincoln John of the United Kingdom, Inspector Alvin Francois, Sergeant 758 McGregor Francois, Sergeant 154 Linus George, and Sergeant 398 Louinas George of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Julian Francois, better known as Coco, employee of Saks. Cletus Dane Francois, security manager at Sugar Beach. Randy Dixon of Barbados. Desley Dixon, correctional officer at Bordelais Correctional Facility. Valence Etienne of Balka. Alexander George. Jason John, also known as La Joe. Phineas Ted John. Reed Francois of Labrie. Johnny Chico of Canada. 5 daughters-in-law: Leocardia Theophil John, better known as Din Din of St. Croix. Miriam John of Labrie. Leah Harrow of Labrie. Shanice Noel of Saltibus. Steffi James of VJ. 2 sons-in-law: Peter St. Catherine of New York. Julius Chico of Labrie. 4 sisters-in-law: Lenora Dixon of Bons-Lagoise. Macrina Louis John in Canada. Cleophas Francois of St. Croix. Augustina Francois of Maryland. 9 brothers-in-law: Felix Marthra, Gilbert Francis and Felix Chico of Labrie. Julian Francois, better known as Elpa of Labrie. Johnson Lafayette. Albert Francois and Relix Francois, better known as Iman of Tiroche, Castries. Winston Francois and family of Corinth. Estava of Vanna. Close friends including Junior Goodridge of Castries. Ayansha Kenson, better known as Shashabu of Testania Highway in Labrie, employed with Rambali's funeral parlor. Archie Eugene, Schofield Jean-Marie, Clyde Clary, Egbert, better known as Decoto of Choiseul. Brian Marthra, Linus Gillian, Anthony McLawrence, Antonia Calix, Curtis Montoot, Nixon Kenson, Dave Joseph. Also left to mourn are numerous relatives and friends, including the John family of Labrie and abroad, the Alphonse family of Labrie and abroad, Jean-Baptiste family of Labrie, Francois family of Labrie, Choiseul, Castries and abroad, Clary family of Labrie, Amab family of Labrie and Castries, Jean-Pierre family of Labrie, the Laura family, Troy and Kervin Jean-Baptiste of St. Croix, Maurice St. Rose and family of St. Croix, Asha Charlemagne, Nadia Brown and Lisa Francois of Maryland, Lafayette family of Choiseul, Neil Jean-Paul, Chrissy Talbert, Damien Charles, his neighbors of High Road, Labrie. The funeral service for the late Felix John, better known as Fay or Bois de Fay, of Testania Highway, Labrie, will be held at the Church of the Purification of the Blessed Virgin Mary in Labrie on Monday, July 10, 2023 at 2:30 p.m. The body will be interred at the Labrie Cemetery. His body now lies at Rambali's funeral parlor, Latony, V4.